I just thought I would take some time to make another video because my track video brought up tons of questions from people. Some of them assumed that I had the track because I don't have access to grass. Some of them felt that the track was very dangerous. That everyone has their own opinion. That's great. I would love to have some more input on what is dangerous about the track. I've walked it and walked it and walked it. I can't find anything dangerous aside from the T-posts. But as you can see with Zorro right there, they're pretty high above him. He's my tallest. So we pounded him pretty high. I didn't just pound him down into the ground where they could get on top of him. It would be hard for him to get up there, and he'd have to hit the electric fence, which he doesn't get near it, so I'm not too worried about that. But I understand people's concern. T-posts can be dangerous. You can see Captain there. They're way above their head. Anyway, so I thought I would just give you a tour of the rest of the property because there was a little confusion about that. So the horses are in the track all day long and all night long. This is where they just live. They have this huge area here with all the gravel and a little bit of weeds. They don't eat the weeds. The weeds are not harmful. I had them checked. This is sand back here where they can roll in the sand, and that's kind of nice for them. They do like to do that and get some itches. That's our backyard right there. So we fenced that. When we moved here, we rent this place. All that was here was this house and this shed. There weren't any fences. There was no horse shed. There was no horse area. The owner graciously let me put water and electricity out to here to this shed and that water spigot, but that wasn't even here for 2 years when we first lived here. I had to haul buckets. I put in all this dry lot, myself and my husband and my boys. Because we're renting, we made most of it temporary. Some of the posts will stay when we leave, and the fencing, of course, will stay. We'll leave the T-posts and the pounded posts and that fencing that's out there. That will all stay for the next people. However, they will require us to reseed this dry lot area, so it will grow grass again. People up here don't really understand dry lotting horses. They all have ranches, and the horses stay out all the time. The horses are mostly all footy and laminitic that I see, and they ride them anyway and use them for cattle work. So it's kind of interesting. I have a friend that runs a ranch. He does dry lot his horses, and they're healthy and happy, and so that's good to see. But most of the ranches up here, the old timers, don't do that. So anyway, we will continue on. Here's the back part of the track. I'm out in the pasture now. So it's sagebrush. It's timothy. It's bunch grass. We don't have like a solid grass. We have some weeds out here, but again, I had them checked. There's nothing poisonous out here. This is all rented, and he doesn't want to pay to spray. So my husband isn't willing to put the money in. It would be a couple $100 or more to spray all this, so we just use it as is. Now, when we moved here, this entire field that you can see out to the fence line out there, across over to that fence line, just in front of that brown shed and around to where those posts are, or those trees are over there, was all dirt. There wasn't any grass at all. The sagebrush had been eaten down to the ground. There were 3 big horses that lived here for a whole year and were not fed any hay through the winter, and they destroyed this field. It was just dirt. So I didn't allow horses out here for the first year and a half that we lived here. I didn't use it. Actually, we moved here in the spring. I didn't use it till the following summer. The end of that summer too. I let it grow all summer. I didn't have any horses out here at all. So it's not too bad considering I didn't reseed or do anything. I came out and I moved around poop. There was so much poop out here. I raked it around, threw it around in this entire field. That's what I did to try to help it rejuvenate, and it came back. So, and we're very dry here. It's high desert. So it looks green, but we've been getting a lot of rain in the evenings. That will end here probably the end of this month, middle of July. This will dry up and it will just be brown. All this green will turn brown. So the horses have access to all of this and around to this side over to that fence line. They come out here for an hour to an hour and a half in the mornings. I let them out early morning because our sugars and our grass come up in the grass as it gets warm throughout the day. The evening is the very most dangerous time to allow them out. So they go out about between 5 and 7 for an hour. As it warms up, if it keeps raining, I'll have to get up earlier and let them out. Last year I was letting them out at 4, from 4 to 6 about. I bring them in at 6. Just because we started getting warm so early in the morning, and I wanted to make sure they were out on it when it was the coolest part of the day. See, that's my grass. Not a lot, however, very high in sugar, very high in starch. Not at all good for laminitic type horses or ponies. All right, now we're looking north of the rental property at our property. We own this property. We just got lucky that the house right beside our property was for rent. That's crazy and unheard of in this county. This side is 5 acres. This side is 5 acres. We're selling one of the 5-acre parcels. This side, anybody is interested, please give us a text or message. And we're keeping this side, this 5 acres. So, total, the ponies have access to 20 acres. As the summer goes on, I'll open up the yard area here that's in the rental property. They have access to all this grass, plus they can come out here into this huge field. When this side sells, of course, that will be fenced off for somebody else's use, but as of now, they have access to all this. There's more than enough acreage for my ponies, more than enough. So I'm kind of excited about the idea of selling the 5 acres and just keeping this 5. And the ideas I have for developing this acreage are awesome. I can't wait to start. Our house will be at the north end of this 5 acres. This end will be, I'm thinking maybe a driving arena. I have some work to do on the ground. We have lots of irrigation ditches running through here, though we don't have water that comes down here anymore, and lots of gopher holes and stuff to fill, but we'll do that. And then up north there where the house is going to be is where I'll build a nice big dry lot with 2 track systems. The track system to the north will be a dirt track, a figure of 8 permanent dirt track, and the track to the south will be a grass track. That one will not be permanent. That will be push and post with electric wire. That one, they can go out and graze and move along the track as they graze the grass. So it'll just promote more movement later in the summer when they can go out more often. You can see that grass there on the other side of the hot wire. That was my dry lot. I had 3 sectioned off dry lots in this area here. We're over there by Bonnie on the other side of Bonnie, where Bonnie is, but it was twice that size. And then this side. And what I had happening was that grass was growing in all the dry lots. Bonnie's insulin resistant. She can't have that right now. So I had to lock her in a very small area. Then Sky started getting really fat and not handling the grass and getting a bit footy. So I had to make this small dry lot area. And what I found was they weren't moving at all. They just stood around and ate their hay nuts all day, and it wasn't a healthy situation. So I decided to implement the track system in the dry lot instead of in the pasture. The track system then turned into a way for them to exercise and be interested in their surroundings during the day. They play, they forage, they have hay all the time, but they don't eat all the time. They play and they move and they run and they buck and they roll and they sleep. And so it's really fun to watch them be out here. But as you can see, that dry lot situation I had wasn't going to be working very well. Another thing I had to keep in mind when I built this track system is I live in southwestern Montana. As you can hear, we have wind a lot, often. In the wintertime, we have wind almost every day. That wind blows the snow around and makes huge snow drifts. If you have fencing such as this, the panel fencing, the snow collects on each side of those panels and makes drifts 6 or 8 feet tall. So if I were to do a track system permanently, I couldn't do a post and rail track system because the inside of the track would totally fill up with snow.